Welcome to the Money Mentors Podcast.
This Money Mentors podcast is about helping you with your retirement questions. So if you have a question for us, reach out online anytime at matsonfinancial.com. Options in our 401ks change from time to time, and it looks like private equity may be coming to those workplace accounts. So how do you see this option, private equity, working for us, and how risky is that as an asset class?
Well, first off, let's explain what private equity is.
Okay.
So, private equity firms, they raise money, so they get investors to give them money, and they're going to buy, manage, and sell companies for a profit. So investors are usually typical high wealth individuals called accredited investors or institutions like pensions and banks. So that's what a private equity firm is. Now let's talk about what that means to your portfolio, Taylor.
Yeah, the important thing to know is, like you said, Gary, that in pension funds and stuff like that, it's been a part of retirees' plans for quite some time. They just don't see it as a line item. We've got some portfolios that have some private equity holdings in an ETF form. So honestly, it doesn't really surprise me that it's going to be making its way into the 401k market through mutual funds or through ETFs. And I think it is a good thing. But I do feel that it also comes with a little bit more level of risk, and you got to pay more attention to what we're really investing in, right? Making sure that it aligns with your beliefs and what you're looking for, and really doing some research when it comes to that private equity. But ultimately, I do feel that it could be very rewarding for a lot of folks. I know it has been in our portfolios. It's different. It's new. And so anytime that comes up, we just need to make sure that we're really dotting our I's and crossing our T's and really doing the due diligence on how does this work into your plan and how much exposure do we realistically really need into it.
Yeah, and like Taylor said, is that, we do have stocks and bonds like the traditional portfolios out there, but we do like adding alternative investments, and this helps lower actually your risk score. So that could be precious metals, private equity, hedge funds, even buffered indexes or annuities, CDs, money markets. These are all things that are outside of the stocks and bond typical portfolios. And again, we add them at different times to give us more opportunity for growth and also to diversify the portfolio. But Taylor hit something that I think is so keen in what he said, and he may not even realize that he's that smart. So I'm
about to find out.
Yeah. And that is the fact that there's all kinds of different private equities. We've actually had some people we know that we're exposed to, believe it or not, they invested very heavily with private equity into garage doors.
Oh.
Now I'm like, okay, a garage door is a garage door. Well, they're developing and actually buying these companies to this product. They're going to see a change in the garage door industry according to them. I don't necessarily buy it or not buy it, but if it's true, they're going to do very well. If it's not, they're going to get hurt. So the question is, are you into a risky private equity or are you into a mainstream private equity that we know has legs and does well? Give an example like a new tech company that's doing well and they want a broader market, so they get gobbled up by a Microsoft or another company like that. So these are the things that you want to look for. So the underlying investments in the private equity is going to be how long they're going to hold it, what type of industry they're in, and how many times have they done this already. You, the normal investor, probably don't have those answers. That's why for us at Matson Financial Services, we actually help our clients that are still working. We help manage their 401k right at their workplace. We help do that because we can see beyond what you can typically see. We have software that we can go out and plug into that 401k investment and see the underlying holdings. We can see the portfolio manager, how much time they're turning over the portfolio, the expense ratios. All of this we've got sight on, so we can have clarity of how we want to invest. That's why, for the most part, we use ETFs, exchange traded funds, because they're totally transparent and we can see things. Mutual funds and 401ks aren't so much. So we want to have clarity on that for our clients and help them, and that's what we do. So when private equity comes along, we're going to need that same tool so we can see depth into it and know, is this right for your 401k? Should you be into it? Or maybe you want to shy away from it. Remember, Bitcoin, which trading over, ready for this, over almost $120,000 a coin, started out at about 15 cents a coin.
Yep.
Not a bad decision if you bought maybe a $10 worth back then.
Way early, yeah.
But again, who knew?
Yeah, exactly. And again, a lot of these different investment options, a lot of times are risky. That's why that clarity on making these investment decisions is so important. And if you'd like to learn more about that 401k account management program, you can always find out more about that program online at Matson401k.com. That's Matson with 2 T's, 401k.com. There's a new survey, too, from Vanguard that shows more employees out there today are taking advantage of the Roth 401k option if their employer offers that. And since many employers today offer both that traditional and Roth 401k account, how do you choose how much to contribute to each as that employee? And is that something that you also help people with?
It's what I do every single day.
Okay. Yeah.
Literally every single day. The first thing I look at is, okay, if we're looking at your household income, and let's say you're teetering right on the edge of a tax bracket, right? Let's say the 12 to 22%. Well, if we're able to defer pre-tax $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 of your 401k contribution, but then do the rest of it in Roth and keep you in that 12% tax bracket, that makes a ton of sense. We're not going to have that additional 10% jump. So you want to defer enough to keep you in your current tax bracket. If you're pretty solidly in your tax bracket and it's a relatively decent area to be in, then yeah, we'll probably go a little heavier in that Roth, especially if you've built up a pretty big pre-tax nest egg already.
Could be a huge benefit.
Yeah, for sure. And you also have to keep in mind that you're still going to be building that pre-tax portion, because if your employer matches, that match is always going to go to the pre-tax. So you're still going to build that pre-tax piece up. And ultimately, I always say it'd be great to have everything Roth, but the reality is you do need some taxable income, right? We do need some of that pre-tax money, or we do need some of those after-tax brokerage accounts. And maybe it's not contributing to a Roth, but rather doing Roth conversions, because you are such a high earner that it doesn't make sense. We really could take that $30,000 or $60,000 tax deduction if you and your spouse are maxing it out pre-tax, would make a huge dent in your tax bill today. And then when you retire, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket based on what your income needs are in comparison to what you earn today. So then we look at Roth conversions, right? And in some cases, we do a little bit of both. We're going to do some Roth 401k contributions, some pre-tax, and we're going to do conversions later on down the road. But it's tailored to every single individual person that walks through the door.
Then the last piece I'd like to throw on there also that we do is that we want to make sure you understand the rules of the Roth 401k. The Roth IRA has its own rules. You know, the money you put in, you can't take out for 5 years, the principal. Growth, you can't take out to 59.5. There's some exceptions, all of that type of thing. But some companies, when they have the Roth 401k, institute some of their own rules. Give an example is that if you take all your money out of the Roth 401k, they're going to close out your account, the total thing. That's the rule. If you take some of the money out of the Roth, you can't. You got to take all of it out. I mean, that's one of the rules. So once again, it depends on the vendor, the company, and what's going on. So you want to make sure when you put money in, what's the purpose? That's a big thing for us. Why are we doing what we're doing? Is it just to save taxes? Okay. Does that make sense based upon liquidity? We may not have the liquidity we need when we want it, and we're going to pay more in taxes or penalties because we need it. Well, we want to be in that position, so maybe the Roth doesn't work as well for you, or at least maybe not as much of those dollars. So once again, it's understanding the own rules that they have for that 401k Roth bucket, and does it meet your plan? That's the key. How does it fit into your plan? We're going to give you the whys and hows and where to do that. And importantly is it going to match up to your plan?
I think that's important, Gary, because not all 401k plans are created equal. You think, well, my 401k, besides the match, is going to be probably the same as, my brother or sister's 401k or my aunt and uncle's 401k. Your company-specific 401k plan, they can put their own stipulations in there that would be different than a different employer. And so it's important, if you're not really sure what your options are, we got to get our hands on the policy documents and let us read through them for you, because they're not super exciting, right? So let us read through those policy documents and really understand the mechanisms behind how your 401k plan is set up so we can make sure we take advantage of it.
Want weekly lessons from your money mentors? Yes. Hit the subscribe button now and listen every weekend on Wood Radio.
The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results. Fee-based financial planning and investment services are offered by Matson Financial Services, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services offered through Lakeview Financial Group, LLC, Matson Financial Services, LLC, and Lakeview Financial Group are affiliated. To find out if Matson Financial Services is licensed in your state, please call 800-536-8907.